All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another one of my interviews. Today I have a special guest with me. He is a former WWE Tough Enough competitor on season 1 with Maven and Nydia, who won that season. He is a current pro wrestler, like an on and off current pro wrestler. He has worked for WWE, Tough Enough, OVW, and AML. He is a current personal trainer / fitness coach, and he is also an on and off wrestling trainer when he can be. He is no other than Chris Nifong, also known as Tyler Swift. So we'll get him on in here, and then we'll start on with the interview.
What's up, man?
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me good?
I'm using a mic I didn't know would work with my computer, so just checking it out first.
Yeah. I use a mic all the time, so yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you for taking the time out to do this, so.
For sure.
All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to say about yourself?
I'm just a guy who had a dream. That's all. That's how I'd like to preface the whole thing. Just a guy who gave it a shot. That's the
right
thing I can say.
All right. So the first question I'll ask is, when did you start getting into the wrestling, and what made you want to do it?
When I first saw wrestling, so I'm 46, so I'm a kid of the 80s. Back in those days, you had Saturday cartoons, and about 11 o'clock noon, when they went off, live action stuff came on, like your Saved by the Bells, and then your roller derby stuff back then. And then it's like, okay, here's this thing with these dudes in underwear throwing each other around, and I'm like, okay, this is amazing. So the first thing I remember hearing was Mean Gene's voice. That was you can find it on YouTube. It was like the Superstars or something like that intro. This big WWF logo kind of flies across the water, goes up across the mountains, and Mean Gene's like, the WWF, what the world is watching. I get chills to this day. So I go watch that trailer just to feel that way again. It's like, okay, this is something big. So it's just ever since then, I've always paid attention. It was just to capture my imagination. Had the trampoline, wrestle my pillows and stuff like that. And I just watched every second I possibly could. And the funny thing was, wrestling was going on forever. In Greensboro, my backyard, you had Sting and Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair tearing it up, putting on classics like Starrcade. 30 minutes away, I had no idea. I thought all wrestling was New York and WWF. So I grew up just watching Hulk Hogan and Savage, and I had no idea stories of up and down the road behind me. You had a classic wrestling I never even discovered until I really started studying it. So that's the small of it.
Right. So did you ever get to attend any of like the wrestling shows as a kid?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Greensboro, a couple of shows there, but we had a smaller coliseum in Winston-Salem that twice I showed up to. I guess they didn't sell out or whatever, and they'd give your money back. So you'd walk up, and little me with my sign for Brutus Beefcake gets turned down. They give me a refund because I guess, I don't know if they didn't sell out or whatever had happened. That happened so many times, but I do remember seeing Hogan for the first time. I was standing there in awe, like, wow, this is the kid or the guy I watch on TV, just like the king of the world. And if you guys ever listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, he always has like a quote, Hogan must pose, because they always talk about their certain eras when they worked. And Vince would send Hogan to pose for 30 minutes after the match. Stood there and I just watched them till the fans or the stands were empty. And just like, wow, there's Hulk Hogan. I remember running down to the aisle, realizing, oh, you can get out of your seat and go to the aisle and put your hand out and touch these guys. And slapping Hillbilly Jim's arm and touching Hogan's while I touched the Golden Goose. So, yeah, I went to several shows as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the chance to meet Hulk Hogan like a couple months ago.
Nice.
And I got to shake his hand, and it was so cool to get in to meet him on his like beer tour that he was doing. Nice. So, yeah.
I'd still like to do that myself. That's one guy that's like I cut my teeth watching him. I've got to shake this guy's hand or something sometime down the road.
Yeah. Who were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up as a kid? Like, who did you admire watching?
Definitely Hogan. He's the one that sold the tickets. I love Brutus. He was entertaining. His wide eyes and his the shears, bushwhackers. I watched the show you were on. I think you call your dad. Your dad calls himself the Bushwhacker, I believe, if I'm right. And I'm a
You're right.
Bushwhacker.
Yeah.
They're entertaining. Let's see who else was great. Those are my top three. Dusty was great when he came into WWF.
Oh
I
yeah.
hated Rick Martel. I'll say this: you say favorite. I hated Rick Martel. Didn't understand he was playing such a good heel. The not Narcissus. That's Lex Luger. The model Rick Martel when he did that gimmick. Man, he made me angry. And I realized, oh, he's being a good heel. But I like to watch him. Love DiBiase, $1 Million Man fan forever. He was awesome. So those were like my top 3, 4.
Yeah, they're great. Definitely Dusty's seeing what his kids are doing now in the business.
Oh yeah,
Dustin and Cody.
what a legacy.
Definitely Cody. Yeah.
I'm a fan of his too. I don't watch much current stuff, but Cody from the lineage, and I've seen him from years before I kind of stopped watching. I will keep an eye on him.
Yeah. That was just going to be my next question. If you watch some of like the current stuff, if you had a favorite.
You're probably going to talk to a lot of guys who say their era is the best, and you're probably going to hear everybody say current wrestling has lost something. I hate saying I've kind of joined those ranks. So these days, if there's something that connects me with the past, I'll show up and watch it. But I'd say the past, not 10 years, 5 years, even when I was training harder in the past 5 years myself, it was hard for me to watch current stuff. They just do so much. They just spam moves, like moves. And I think the story's lost. So I've tried to watch like AEW, cool, new wrestling company on the TV. I tried watching one show. I can't watch another pay-per-view with that again. 30 super kicks, 35 dives. What's left? You've already done so much. You got to shoot the guy in the head to get a finish to be surprising. I can't watch that. But I'll say, pardon the dog in the background. I will say, like your Cody's and like anybody who comes back, I'll watch for any type of run. Like Orton, I'll still watch anything Orton does. But I can't stomach some of the new stuff. I'm not saying I'm better or my era is better, but it's just not the same, I don't think. So Cody, Orton, who else I think of? Still follow the Hardys, whatever they do. So I'd say those are the ones I'm going to go up for.
For sure. Yeah. Who were some of your wrestling trainers? Because I know you got help down in the Tough Enough area and then getting into professional wrestling. Is there any separate trainers that you had to get into professional wrestling other than Tough Enough?
Yeah, it was my story is so interesting, at least for me. Just sending a tape, got lucky enough to be on that show. And of course, there's Al, there's Taz, there's pardon the dog's name, there's Jackie, the one of the female trainers, love her a lot. But after Tough Enough, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to shut this door. I didn't want to. I quit, unfortunately, which can be another side story. I didn't want to really stop, but I had kind of gotten my feel like over my head. I need to take a break and breathe. I was prepared. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this again, regather myself. And I'm in this gym back home in Lexington, North Carolina. And when you're around wrestling, you know what the sound of a bump sounds like. Like you just know what a bump sounds like. I know you're training for wrestling. You know what a bump sounds like when you hit that mat. I'm just in a gym working out. I'm like, okay, I'm training to get better, get stronger. I hear a bump. I'm like, that is a wrestling ring somewhere in this gym. And I look over to where it's at. I walk over. There's Crash Holly with a SmackDown apron around the ring. I'm like, holy crap, this is my backyard. There's a guy I watch on TV here. I'm getting chills thinking about this. And I'm like, oh, holy crap. And I know I've got an OVW possible tryout to go to also. So I wait till he finished with his class, and I approach him like, Crash, I just came off Tough Enough. I found this OVW tryout that's going to be. I'd love to train and get your guidance. Can I join your class? And so I trained with him for about 3 months before I did that. So Crash Holly. And then when I got up there, it's Rip Rogers and let's see, who else? Dean Malenko here and there when he'd show up. Jim Cornette, of course, at OVW. And fast forward after I did that, then Pablo Marquez is a guy who's been around Puerto Rico. He was a big Babu in WWF for a while. Loved that guy. Found him when I went to Florida. Soul Man Alex G, 70s era Florida wrestling guy, one of the best trainers down there. So I've had different eras of like I kind of started and stopped and just kept going. I kind of made it my goal to I'm going to learn wrestling. If I don't care about the contract, the money right now. I want to learn pro wrestling. I don't care if I get signed. I want
Yeah.
to learn. So I'd always start and stop, new area, take myself somewhere else. So who else after that? Um, there's a guy no one knows from North Carolina at AML, Josh. I've known this guy for 20 years. I never know how you pronounce his last name, Gary or Jerry, Josh Gary or Jerry. He'd be a great guy to talk to if you'd like to sometime about just wrestling psychology. He's got a great mind. He's just a local guy, but I respect what he knows. So there's your big name guys who've been somewhere, and then there's guys you've never heard of who really mean a lot to what I've learned. And that's kind of three different, not decades. I've been wrestling for 40 years. Three different sessions of me learning and training and learning something from this guy, from that guy, and this guy. The Crash Holly
Right.
surprised me. It was like, holy crap, he's in my backyard.
Right. So you got like all different types of training from all different
Walks of life, times,
yeah.
eras. I think that's the
Yeah.
best way to do it. Learn from everybody. One thing Josh says, the guy I just talked about, he always says this flavors of ice cream. Learn this guy's flavor of ice cream. Learn this guy's. Then as you take a step back at what you got under your belt, you can do it all. And you know just knowledge from everybody. Okay, I can work this way. I can do it this way, he says. It's very valuable to have more than just one trainer.
Of course, yeah. Who would you say has been the stiffest wrestler you have gone in the ring with?
Stiffest. Let me think. All right, so OVW, there was a guy who came from WCW. His name was Horseshoe. Matt Weezy was his name. I don't know if that's something you remember. This is now early 2000s. He came from I think he came from the power plant. This is in the youth of my wrestling training versus a guy who's been on TV. We're doing some type of get heat drill, and I'm 5'11" me versus like 6'7" him, however tall he was. And I'm just laying forearms and laying forearms in, and next thing I know, I'm laying on the ground. So it's not like he punched me hard or whatever, but just like the force this man could push. I always remember this one session in training where I pissed him off, and he laid it into me, and I just turned around like, oh, I'm on the ground now. So Horseshoe. He don't think he cared for me very much either.
Yeah. You know, that's somebody I actually have never heard of.
Yeah.
So
look at like your later years of WCW. I don't really remember his gimmick other than they called him Horseshoe because he had this horseshoe haircut type of thing. But there's a clip you might find on YouTube where he's doing like a Thanksgiving thing in WWE, and there's like a food fight with him. That's like one of the most found clips I find of him too. He does this.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He's talking about like sweet potato souffle or something like that. I keep coming across that clip. I like to go study his stuff he's done. Anybody who I've been around, what have you done? Let me see what you've done. Let me see how you do it. So even though he didn't care for me, I still like watch what he did. But I come with this souffle clip. It's on YouTube with him.
Yeah, it's Matthew Wees.
There you go, Matt Wees. That's it. Weezy.
Yeah.
How he says that, but we called him Horseshoe.
Right. Were you ever in any type of school or amateur wrestling as a kid?
I never was. I wasn't really an athletic guy. I played soccer just because I needed something to do. And it's like, okay, this is cool enough. I didn't really care about football, baseball. I might have played a little bit as a kid, but I look back and kind of wish I would have done some amateur wrestling. But at the same time, a cousin of mine did. And this kid was so strict with his diet and his training. It's like, that doesn't look fun at all. I love the aspect of learning it, but I don't want to train like those guys. But no, I wasn't much of a sports guy. I'm an only child, so I was always just by myself playing video games and playing my soccer just because that's what I did, but never serious about it. And then when I started learning like the weight room stuff and lifting weights, that's kind of my sport I did for myself. I really dedicated myself to that. I'd really spend time doing that. That's really all the athletics I had. Did some martial arts here and there, but nothing else.
Right. Nice. What do you consider to be a weakness and then a strength of yours in wrestling?
Weakness? Oh, man. Weakness and strength. Weakness, I've got the worst memory you will ever see in your life. I cannot remember anything. Um, you shoot me in the ropes and say, we're doing this, this, this. I'm running like, what did you just say? I'm coming back with something. I don't know what. There was a time in OVW that Dr. Tom came down and he took us took us this one little drill where I swear the man called 15 spots and said, okay, go do it. I remember 3. And I'm like, how am I supposed to survive this? And I got kind of friends with Mike Bucci, Nova, Simon Dean, and I would always talk to him about it. He's like, I can remember 47 spots in a row. Like, I don't know how this man can do that, but I have a bad memory. My weakness is remembering anything you tell me. So that's one reason I don't like to pre-plan much. What's your high spot? What do you do here? What's our finish? Let's bring it together and just be organic like it should be anyway. So I work better that way. Strength, I will keep coming back. I will keep trying. I will figure this out. I will be better. So I have all kinds of determination to succeed, do it right, be the best I can be. And if you don't have that, you're going to be floundering. But I definitely say I will keep trying, which is why I would still do a match to this day, because I still just love pro wrestling.
Yeah. And I agree with you on the memory, because I forget things right away, such as like that. So
Good deal.
Is it hard traveling from show to show, and what is the worst or best thing about traveling?
Me, definitely, yes. I'm not a big traveler. I don't love to sit in a car for 6 hours. It's just I don't like being stuck without being able to move. I'm a big fidgeter. So if I'm just stuck in a seat, I get bored easily. I need to entertain myself. I can't read because I have motion sickness, so I can't look at my phone because my head starts hurting. So if you have a good group of guys you're having a great time with, that's fun. And I've had some of those, but you take me anything over 2 hours and it's like I'm just in misery. I'm not a great traveler. And you said 2 parts to that question. I forgot the second part you asked.
And what is like the worst or best thing about traveling?
I think I covered it. Just being pent up and not being able to move around. I can fly better than I can drive just due to the motion sickness. I've got to be in the driver's seat or the passenger seat. You put me in the back on top of some dudes who are just like crushing me because I'm a medium-sized guy, 5'11", 205, and there's a dude hogging me. I'm going to get claustrophobic. Y'all got to get off and let me outside. I'll walk the rest of the way. But that's definitely my travel weakness.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupt you. I'll go into more depth too. When you're paying your dues and you're doing these long travels for no money and you're figuring out how you're going to pay this and pay that, everybody's got to go through that. That sucks sometimes. And there's so many times I've been at shows and it's 3 hours before. You're just entertaining yourself. You've already talked to everybody. It's just wait time. That time to wait before you're actually going to go do something, that's kind of what traveling likes for me. Let's just get right to the high spots. Let's go do the show. You're just waiting for it. And just being patient is hard.
Right. Who was like your first opponent in front of a crowd, and how did you feel going into that first match?
First opponent, let's see. It was a tag team match, of course, because I wasn't able to do anything great yet. Joey Matthews and Christian York, if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
What was John Hennigan and Joey Matthews in WWE, that tag team? The ladder spot that broke his nose.
Oh, they were with Melina? Eminem?
Yeah, Eminem. I forgot the gimmick name, so my mind, again, will probably slip me here and there. Joey Matthews, Christian York, they were kind of like the Hardys of that time, early 2000s, late 90s. The tag team with them and that Jerry. Sorry if you ever see this, Josh. I forgot how you say your last name. I tag team with him, and I kind of just ran in and did some type of clothesline, something or other. Nervous, beyond belief. What do I do? It's like, here's everything you've ever learned, but will it go the way it's supposed to? I don't know. But I just had one little clothesline on the apron, maybe throw somebody out. Chris from Tough Enough saved the day type of run-in thing. And then like a small little match. It just such a flash. And backstage, I was just pacing. It's really fun, really exciting. But it was just, I'm hard on myself. I'm a perfectionist. I want it to be perfect. And just the stress of am I gonna be able to perform? Those were definitely what was in my mind. I can go back and think about that day. It was so fun though. Like, holy crap, I'm gonna get to be able to do this. And it was fun too because I remember after that they gave me like a little envelope with like $10, and Joe, you're a Christian, one of those guys. Congratulations, you're a pro wrestler. It's like, huh, that's really all that is, isn't it? So I've kind of like wanted to do this so much, and that's what it was. Here's your paycheck. You're a pro wrestler. Like, oh, not a good one, but you could officially call yourself that. So that was fun.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, getting told finally that you're a pro wrestler that's awesome. So
Yeah, you know, you might not be a good one for a while, but you're in there.
how did the crowd react when they seen you for the first time in the ring?
That was interesting because I was thinking about this today. I was like, I got to go back and bring up some older memories I haven't thought of for a while. And I apologize if I have to think for some things for a bit during this. But I remember just going back as I was thinking about this, and just the reach of Tough Enough was amazing. In my local mall back home, I was approached 4 or 5 times. Real and Tough Enough. It's like, holy crap, the machine that WWE is, WF at the time, and MTV, like you are reaching some households. Like I'm just a kid who's on a reality show who just did this thing. And you only saw me like for a few weeks and I was noticed. So, you know, it was hyped up at the time, Tough Enough contestants here. And every time I'd go do a show here and there, they'd always use that. And I didn't want to. Like, I don't want to do the Tough Enough thing. But like, there's like, you've got this built in, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. You built in story already. People know the name.
Yeah.
You know what Tough Enough is? Like you've been somewhere, use it. So definitely like, oh wow, there's Chris, but like who's Chris? And people are like, he was on that show. I remember hearing he was on Tough Enough. So just like they knew what it was, but what exactly was this guy? Because there's 12 of us, however, 13 of us, I think. And there was a lot of people thought, oh, it's not the big one, it's the little one, not Chris Harvard, it's Chris CK, as I've named myself here, CK.
Yeah.
It's career killer. So it was like, ooh, it's Tough Enough, but who is this again? Okay, cool. That's what I noticed. It was no like, oh my gosh, not like that. I didn't drop kick Undertaker out during Royal Rumble like Maven. That's a different type of a response.
Well, I mean, you were pretty close to getting to the finish. I mean,
Yeah.
How close were you?
I was
exactly?
the last one to leave before they made their final decision. So
Wow.
the biggest thing I say, I'm going to lead into a question you might not have. I quit, and I regret quitting. But they were, as I saw that, I thought the show was going to be, we are all here, we're all going to be here. They'll make their decision. No, there was a cut each week, or if you quit, and it just dwindled down. One of the show names was they're dropping like flies. It was like 2 a week, sometimes every week before they even cut somebody. People just, I'm going to stop. It was the most stressful time of my life. Like it was very tough because it was Tough Enough. That's the name, right? But I was at my last straw, kind of embarrassed of my performance. I wasn't doing great. And they're going to pick the person who's got the least mistakes and who would think they could, bank on. So I hate I quit, but at the same time, it taught me how not to quit elsewhere. I'd never been challenged like that before. I'd never done anything like that before. Like I said, only sports I've ever had to really challenge me in anything was soccer, and I just played it to play it. But this is the biggest thing I've ever said, I want to go do. And when I get there, I'm going to stop. And I was embarrassed of that. And for 10 years or more, psychologically, that messed with my head. I was like, I'm a quitter. One thing, so reality shows are not reality by far. They craft their own stories and they kind of egg you on and make you do things so the camera gets a good clip. John Grubruick, big on the show, he said, I hear you're going to quit like the day before. He's like, it was like a weekend, maybe like a Sunday. I hear you're going to think about leaving. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not doing great and everything. He's like, okay. He said to me, whatever you decide tomorrow, your decision, that's what you're going to be the rest of your life. So meaning if I continue, I'll be a winner. If I quit, I'm a quitter the rest of my life. Just throw life away. I was like, oh, that's just pressure. And I thought about it. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I mean, I could have talked to some of the contestants there, but wasn't really close. It was competition. We had friends. We were friends. I was close with a couple of people, but
yeah,
I didn't really get out how I was feeling. I didn't really feel like I was going to succeed. My confidence was shot. I said, I'm going to quit. and I regret that so much. And I found out after I watched the show, they picked those last 5 to be the possible winners. And I was like, man, I just had 1 more week, 2 more weeks to hold on. But the moral of the story, this whole thing turned me into a man, and now I can pass that story. Don't quit onto somebody else. So it's a bigger story for my thing. It wasn't just tough enough. Now it's life.
Right. Yeah. Do you think you could have possibly won or went even further if you stayed in the competition?
Well, yes and no. I did find out if you stayed in, you could have possibly got sent to WWE or Memphis, not Memphis, wherever Maven went. Where'd he go? Heartland Wrestling. He went somewhere that wasn't WWE. There was like 2 or 3 developmentals. Found out after the fact, if you would have just made it through and got cut or just not been chosen, you were kind of one of Al's kids. And that's one thing I regret too. I've seen Al since, and it's like, hey, I was on Tough. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you. Versus like the hug like Josh would get or Chris and Maven would get. It's like, dang, I really messed up that. I hate Al wouldn't consider me one of his kids because I quit on him. And I didn't realize they took it like that either. After seeing the show, we meant something to them too. Like they were banking on us to step up. But yeah, I could have done something or had another opportunity. Still made it there. Still went to the same place. But I had to talk to John and say, okay, I did go to John Gerbruick and say, I want to do this. I made a mistake. And he's like, you need to go talk to Danny Davis at OVW. So I think because I'd done that too, and because Crash kind of vouched for me and said, I'm training this kid, like the way he moves, let's try this guy. So I couldn't have won. Hell no. I was the absolute worst. Wasn't a great speaker. I was very combative with people. Chris Harbor didn't like me, and who liked him. I told Maven I was going to spit on him one time. I was definitely just in my feral state, just like trying to take care of myself. So it was not a good time for me. I had to grow up a lot. And that's one reason too. I felt like I'm not ready for this. This is going to be changing my life. I got to go straight to training and doing wrestling. I'm not grown up enough for this. I kind of recognize that about myself.
Yeah. If you could go back in time and wrestle anyone that has passed away, who would that be?
Passed away. Man, there's so many people. I'm a big fan of wrestling before my generation, and I'm a gigantic Nick Bockwinkel fan. I love the way this man works. Nick Bockwinkel, the way he works a hold, the way he takes his time. I tell everybody who wants to be a wrestler, study this man. Just the way he works a hold. I would love to try him. Dusty. I mean, I could keep going. There's not like one person. I could go back even further. Let's Hackenschmidt. Back in the day, the guys who kind of started this, really shooting and hooking. I want to see what that's. I've looked before. Like, where do you go learn shooting and hooking? I want to learn this too, just because I want to learn pro wrestling, even the history of it. Those guys. I love the guys before the TV had color, like before there was a TV.
Yeah. I think I did a project for one of my classes on Hackenschmidt one time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
because I had to do like a person from way back in the day that passed away, and it was like a certain generation of time period that I had to do. So I picked him to do, and yeah.
That's cool. And he still comes to life in my line of work right now as a personal trainer. The hack squat, that machine you're inverted and squatting on, he invented the hack squat move. It's a little different than it was now. It's like I always love how wrestling still shows up somehow in life, at least what I do. So I've always kind of gravitated towards just all things wrestling. And I always think about that guy. It's like, man, this created a move. Who's created a move in a long time outside of pro wrestling? Who's created an exercise? And it's a wrestler.
Yeah.
And that was always cool.
Right. It may be kind of obvious, but how did you come up with the idea of wanting to name yourself Tyler Swift? And why did you want to name yourself that?
Man, that's fast forwarding through so many trial and error. Always looking for a character that you can sink your teeth into. That's one of the hardest things. How do you reinvent yourself? Well, first, how do you invent yourself, right? Like as you're trying to find your character, you're going to find something you like and kind of emulate that. And then as you grow, you might change it. That's me. My first character was like, so on the screen there, they called me CK, career killer. I don't know if that's one thing you might have noticed from your notes when I asked about that, but they called me career killer because I hurt Tori during a hip toss. Okay, they know me as CK. I don't use career killer. Let's go with a name that sounds like that. So Chris Caliber with a K was my first choice of a name. Who is Chris Caliber? I have no freaking idea. I don't have a clue who that is. It was just like a cool sounding name, and I probably emulated the Hardys here and there, did stuff like that, wearing baggy pants. I don't know who that is. Nothing to really lean into because myself, I'm not yet mature enough. I don't know myself yet. I don't know quirks I could have used for a character. So that was my first name. And then as I got older, I think like maybe 3 years older after that, after the Chris Caliber kind of went away, somebody's like, call yourself the Carolina Kid because CK. I use all these like CK names. Who's Carolina Kid? I don't know, just a kid from North Carolina because I was wrestling in Florida at that time, traveling all around. So just all these things just didn't work out. I don't know who this is. And there's a moment I always remember. There was a guy in OVW, if I can remember his name. Last name was Cade, not Lance Cade. No, not Lance Cade. Chris, I forgot his name. He had a contract for a while. He was on OVW TV. He might have had a couple one shots on TV, but I can see his face. Forget his name. I remember him saying to Jim Cornette, I don't know who, whatever his name is. I don't know who he is. What does he do? I'm like, I understand exactly what he means. Even up there, I don't know who I was. I want to say this. I want you to remember it before you bring it back. Jim Cornette wanted to call me Carl Lafong. So my last name is pronounced Nifong. You said Nifong. I've heard that my whole life. It's
okay.
Nifong, long I. So I guess because my name sounded like that, he's like, I want you to be Carl Lafong. So he loves old school humor. I forget who this is. If you Google Carl Lafong, there's a little clip you'll get from like black and white comedy. I forget the guy's name. It's like a little sketch comedy thing. It's a salesman looking for Carl Lafong. And he did this in front of me. He's like, this is an old sketch. It's a salesman thing. He's this man with a briefcase. He's looking for Carl Lafong. That's you. Who the hell is Carl Lafong? That depressed me when I got that. I was in OVW probably 6 months and maybe 4 months. I had a year stay there. And I'm like, okay, cool. He had gotten another new class who came in. He's giving people gimmicks. Shad Gaspard was there from Crime Time. John Hennigan was still there. And Cena was still making an appearance. And there's like all these dudes getting cool names. So Morrison was calling himself Johnny Blaze at the time. Cool name. All right. Then there's a guy they called Seth Skyfire. Cool name number 2. You got Shad calling himself the Beast. That's who he was. Then he's like, Chris, you're Carl Lafong. I was like, God, really? Give me something cool to work with here. Like, who's Carl Lafong? Now, in retrospect, I look back. I should have taken that and ran so far with it, done something Santino-like with it. I regret that. I was looking for the cool name that did the cool moves. You know, Seth Skyfire, Carl Lafong. I could have done something with that, and who knows what would have happened. You know, so
yeah,
it took time to realize I messed that up too. Young and dumb. That's me. I'm just young and dumb. So fast forward, me learning I should have used that. I should have done it because it was given to me by Jim Cornette. You know, it was handed to me like, oh man, I messed that up. So anyway, I'd stopped wrestling for a while. And I got back into it. So I traveled here and there. I just call myself whatever, just doing matches is what I was doing. I don't care about the name. Just get the experience doing matches. It was a long-winded answer. And then I haven't done wrestling in a while. And my friend Joshua, I mentioned earlier, he's like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. So AML does this gigantic show in North Carolina called WrestleCade. Have you ever heard of WrestleCade?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Like, it's great. So I didn't realize that Josh was training with their school. So he's like, it's Thanksgiving. We have nothing planned this week. Let's do something because they're getting ready for WrestleCade. Come tell your story to my class. So I show up and they're sitting there with like notepads. Like, I don't know if I've got that much to tell you. Anyway, long story short, I show up. Like, it rekindled me wanting to train. He's like, can I get in the ring and take a couple bumps? This is like 2019, 20. It's right after COVID. Anyway, long story short, I go show up. Can I start training? Yeah, take a couple bumps. So I start paying him to train again. And I'm 42 years old, maybe 3. I forgot when this was exactly. And it's fun to train again, and I can take the bumps and everything's okay. So I'm this 40-year-old with these 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds, and I'm kind of helping out a little bit. This is where the training thing comes. And anyway, long story again, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I love Taylor Swift. And I jokingly wore a shirt that said, "Do you even Swift, bro?" with her pulling her glasses down. And people thought that was funny. Pro wrestling where there's all these wrestling shirts and there's a guy wearing a Taylor Swift shirt. I got another one and I wore a different Taylor Swift shirt. So everybody's like, "Oh, Swifty's here." I'm like, hold on, what? There's something here. And I'd start walking out going, oh, like hearting everybody. Instead of just too sweet everybody, I'd heart everybody. So like, and they got into it. They were coming up, like just training. I'm getting chills to think about this again. It's like, holy crap, I've got a character and it's fun and I like it. And I know what I can do. There's so much stuff. So I started using her song title. So let's say I'm a heel. You're coming up a little bit and I shut the face down. I'll point at the guy, maybe step on his chest. Look what you made me do. Because one of her songs, "Look What You Made Me Do." Are you ready for it? I'm coming up and getting a high spot. Pause for a second. Are you ready for it? To the crowd. And boom. And I just start doing stuff like that. I had this spot I would do with Kanye. Kanye interrupted her to get one of her awards. If you remember that. Okay, so she's accepting this award. Just listen to this. She's accepting this award. Kanye says, "Hey, Taylor, I'm going to let you finish. But Beyonce has one of the greatest blah, blah, of all time. Or greatest CDs of all time, whatever." In my mind, I'm like, I can use this. Let's say I'm a heel. The baby face is punching me. I'm like, oh, I'm selling it. He punched me again. Wait. I turn around. It's like, wait. I forgot my own gimmick right now. It's like, I said, wait, I'm going to let you finish. But Taylor Swift is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And turn around into like a big boot or something like that. The crowd loved that stuff. It's like, holy crap, this is amazing. So I got tights made with her on the side, 13 on the crotch, Swift on the back, had the vest. It just came to life. And when you know what your character is, you know what you can do. I did so much fun stuff, and it's Santino type stuff. That right there, you can sink yourself into it. You know exactly what your character is. You know what you can do. And wrestling became so much easier right there. So anybody who's training, if you don't know what's going on, when you get the character going, that opens you up to do all kinds of stuff that you can't if you're trying to like force something you don't know where it's at. The lights on. That's where it became so much easier to do. That's the long evolution how it became Taylor Swift. Like, this is the thing. This is the one. And people love and hate her. So I always had a cheer or a boo going on. So easy to do. So that's it.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think so.
And I think the Josh guy you're talking about is Josh Turner.
So Josh Gary or Josh Jerry. So he's long since retired, since like the 2000s or whatever. He's just a local NC guy. He does seminars though. He's a great trainer. Josh Jerry, Coach Josh, or Coach, I don't know what he calls himself, social media. You'd have to be around the AML really to see him, but I think he worked with let me see, Ring of Honor for a while, trying to get a job there. He's been around doing some stuff. He knows some people, good connections. He's an awesome guy. Josh Gary, Josh Jerry. Again, Josh, if you see this, I'm sorry, I don't know how you say your last name. Known you for 20 years. You said it right.
So I know before you talked about the Taylor Swift story, you mentioned a little bit about the career killer thing, and I had a question about that. How did you get that nickname? And you mentioned about Tori. Mm-hmm. If you could tell a little bit about how you got that.
Just being young and dumb, not know what's going on. We were doing hip tosses, and it's in the show. I don't know what episode it is, but doing hip tosses, and I guess I kind of sandbag and didn't get over posting on her knee. And it kind of tweaked a little bit. She says she hurt her knee. She had just had surgery, and I think that's one reason she was doing the Tough Enough thing, keeping her active, keeping her seen, keeping her recovering. But I remember she talked very monotone like this, and she gave me this hip toss, and I probably just didn't get my fat ass up. I'm not fat, but I didn't get up high. And she's like, "Yeah, that really hurt my leg. It hurt my knee. You really hurt my knee." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 4 weeks. I'm sorry." And then somebody calls me career killer. It's either who did call me? It's either Josh or Chris Harvard. I'm guessing they were one of the two who called me that, and it stuck. And I took it 2 ways, like, cool, they're giving me a nickname, they're accepting me, and then 2, they're shitting on me. And I think they were just shitting on me. But we were kind of close, or not everybody's kind of close, but we were friends-ish, but we're still competitors against each other. But I guess they thought I was a dumbass, really, because I was not behaving the best. I was, like I said, very feral. I'm not having a good day. This is hard. I'm stressed out. I'm embarrassed of my performance here. I love wrestling so much. I thought this would be easier. It's not easy. So I made a fool of myself and career killer.
Yeah. So, like, not many people know about Tori much besides from her stunts from DX. What was
Yeah.
she just like as a person outside of in the ring? And so,
Very, what's the word I would say? Very spiritual, if you will. So very, like she took us to do yoga one time. We did hot yoga there, and that is her and her element that I understood of her. Very just like calm, centered, feel the vibrations. Probably had some crystals at home for spiritual guidance, things like that. Very cool, very nice. Didn't see her laugh a whole lot. Um, all the trainers had a personality. Hers was she was warm and inviting, but didn't really get to know her too much. I wish I would have talked a little more, but also I think also there was that trainer student relationship, so you couldn't get too close. However, like with Jackie, man, she was fun. I feel like she was my mom. She was like smiley, congratulatory with you, talk, chat. Even when I left, she gave me hugs like, "I'm gonna miss you, Chris." Is she putting that on for the show? I don't know, but I believe she genuinely got close to us. But Tori was kind of maybe you might call it a little bit distant, a little bit like up in the clouds. I don't know if that's the correct answer to call that. I like her. She was great. I'm not putting her down.
yeah. And about Jacqueline, yeah, I didn't get to meet her per se
Mm-hmm.
because she was at a recent show I went to in Minnesota,
Yeah.
and she was doing like a big meet and greet for MAW Grand Slam with all the
Nice.
other guests. I didn't get a chance to meet her because there were so many guests, and uh, I just didn't get the chance to stop by her, but I really wanted to. But she went out to the ring with all the other ladies that were there and got
Yep.
flowers, and she seemed really cool from what
Yeah.
I seen. And
I can tell someone's energy, and I loved who she gave off as a person. I'd love to talk to her again. I'd love to talk to everybody from the show again. I'd love to do another reunion just to see what's going on. Like Maven's doing a podcast right now. I'd love to be like, hey, Maven, have him. Let's have a tough enough conversation. Just I'm proud of the guy. I'd love to see Al again. Uh, Tori, Jack. I'd love to see them all. Taz, even though he scared me half to death. I'd love to see them all again.
yeah, Tori doesn't do much anymore, so
I
it
don't
would
think
kind of be
so.
hard to see her.
I don't
You
know if she
know,
does any signings at all.
yeah, she doesn't do any appearances or signings. I think she's just hidden away from the wrestling business and
Yeah, you get your
everything.
fill. You want to go away and just be private sometimes. That life in the eye of the public is difficult to maintain. I understand the taste of it, not a lot of it. I understand the taste, just being recognized.
Yeah. Out of all of the trainers you've had in Tough Enough, who would you say was the best? Who did you bond with the most and just got along with?
I don't think we got close enough. Well, I didn't in my spot. I believe like your Josh and your Mavens and your Chris Harvers probably did a little better. They were accepted again as Al's kids. I don't think I was, like I said. Al, I would say the closest to, even though I wasn't really, but it was very fatherly. It was, here's what you need to do. If you don't do it, there's punishment. And I told you already, very easy and calm. They did that. The way I look at it, they did the show where good cop, bad cop. Al was the good cop. Taz was, I'm going to just make you shit your pants on TV. And I'm going to gravitate towards the person who's easy on me, right? But Al was very strict, very stern, very fair. On the other hand, Taz, I remember the first time he came in the room. Of course, they're putting on a TV show. I swear he bust through the door. We did the thing where he wakes us up and he throws the long johns at us out of a deep sleep. Get up! I was like, okay, this is going down, and I'm like half asleep trying to put long johns on. Now we're gonna go run and mud wrestle. So that's how we met Taz,
Oh,
and
yeah.
ever since then it was just like that. I remember we were learning hammer locks and headlocks, simple things like that, and Taz gets in the ring with every one of us, and I could not think. I have never known fear like I have when Taz got in the ring. It scared me half to death because I thought he was going to kill me if I messed up, and I could not think. I was definitely shaking, didn't know what I was doing. Put me a hammerlock. I'm like, I don't know. how to do that. He's like, put me in the hammerlock. Oh gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrified. He had to stop that first day. He's like, I'm not going to hurt you guys, but if you mess up, I'm going to make you pay or whatever. Well, that's great. So I'm terrified. You got to be right on it and know what it was. And if you didn't, no patience for it. So not close to him, it's closer to Al because of that.
Right. What did you do with your career after your time in WWE Tough Enough? Was what like after the short period of not doing wrestling until returning? What did you do after?
To do Tough Enough, I had to drop out of school to do it because I think I was going to enter into a semester. I think the show aired in the summer. I had to quit the spring semester, whatever that was, at my college, and I had to go back and finish that semester. And my parents were always like, "Finish college, do whatever you want to do." So I definitely didn't want to skip that. So I went to college and kind of re-prepared. So since I quit, I was like, okay, I got to just think about this. Do I want to do it? Yes. How am I going to do it? I don't know. Take your time. Get to the gym. I saw where my weaknesses were. I know what I need to do for strength and go to a school and prepare myself for whatever it's going to be. So went back to college and just thought about my next step. And then that was definitely OVW when I found out they had a tryout and getting ready for that. And that's how I met Crash. So trained in his ring for a few months and got ready for that way. So I did go, I think I drove an hour from Charlotte to Lexington this time, twice a week, putting those miles on that long drive. There's always that story of people training. I drove 3 hours. I drove 4 hours, for the weekend. But I did my hour drives twice a week. Not a big deal, but I wanted to do it. I'm going to drive as far as it takes. So studied, graduated college.
Right.
Crash. Prepared myself for the next step.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Yep. What made you decide to want to start helping the younger generation as to becoming a wrestling trainer to get them into the business? And do you still do it now? Or what are some of the setbacks that are keeping you back from just doing the training now?
That's a really good question. I appreciate that question. Here's what I say about myself. I don't care about being the king of the mountain. I don't want to be on the top. I want to be on the side of the mountain, pulling other people on the mountain because I just love seeing people succeed. There's just something in me that likes to give. I love seeing people do great. And that kind of developed because I know where my struggles were. I don't want somebody to be sitting back where I was and be mentally stuck for 10 years or however long it takes. You can do this, just go do it. I taught swimming for a while, just random job to help one of my friends out. And the parents were telling me, you got a knack for teaching. You are patient, you are kind, you don't blow up, you don't give up on my child. And one of the things that happened that kind of solidified it, and the owner of this swimming school told me afterward, I see how you train these or how you work with these kids. You have something. And one of the parents said, so it was like a 2-week program. This one kid would not get in the water. So for a week, I begged him to please swim, please try this. Didn't give up on him. Second week, he finally did. And his dad told me his last day, he said, I've watched you with my child. He was terrified of the water, and now you are a part of our conversation at the dinner table every day. And that's worth $1 million to me. I've affected someone's life where I feel comfortable swimming. I taught him a skill to save his life. That all happened. It's just organically as I grow up and get older. I don't know who said this quote. I've heard it from Arnold Schwarzenegger. When you're younger, it's all about me. When you're older, it's about we. I've definitely adopted that. And that's why I said, maybe personal training would be good because I've always loved the gym. I've spent my time doing that. And as I came back from the Tough Enough and OVW and then wrestling here and there, just going you know what? There are people who aren't getting great training. I don't know it all, but I can teach you something. And just realizing I can give to somebody else. I love to give. If I had my own school, I would take 3-4 guys who'd like to learn to show them the basics. I heard Cody Rhodes say something like, I can teach somebody the basics, the middle stuff and the advanced stuff. I can't teach them. I'm like, oh, cool. If he's saying that, I can give somebody something too. Have I done anything? No, I've just tried. Have I been anywhere? A few places. Am I as smart as Shawn Michaels? No, but I've listened to so many people talk. I've listened to so many shoot videos and talked to people and been to seminars. I can give somebody something. I always talk about going into spaces people are not and taking that information and bringing it to other people. I've done that. Now, I just started training on my own to finish my journey, and I realized I can bring these things I've had, experiences somebody else has not had, like that Al taught me that I might have heard from Arn Anderson or who else, or Crash, anybody. There's one little thing I do in a headlock. When I've got you, I have to do a headlock takedown that Crash showed me. Don't see anybody else do it. It looks awesome. I wish I could show everybody this little thing. I'd love to give everybody that. So just the ability to give people something they wouldn't have anywhere else motivates me. And the struggle is I just don't have time. I live in a small little coastal town off North Carolina where all I do is train people in the gym. I would love to have like a little summer camp for kids. See if there'd be like a couple people who do that as well. Like, are there local people around here who want to learn pro wrestling and stick to it and really want to do it? I'd love to, but just the time. Comes down to time. An area really
Right.
too, a small area. If I was closer to Charlotte, something like that, I'm sure I could attract more people.
Yeah. How does it feel to know you get to elevate and push forward into someone else's life as a personal trainer? You might have just touched a little bit on that and like the kid swimming story, but is there anything else?
It's the only job I've ever had where I feel fulfilled at the end of the day. Wrestling was fun only until I discovered Tyler Swift and kind of put that there. It's stressful the rest of the time. There's a quote Bret Hart said from not Beyond the Mat. Is it Beyond the Mat? I think it's Beyond the Mat. He said, or it might be Wrestling with Shadows. I think he says it there. When you're younger, you worry about messing up. When you're older, you worry about getting hurt. Now I don't care if I mess up. I'm going to make a mistake, or I've got that. I understand it. Now am I going to get hurt? So definitely I've lost my train of thought. What did you ask me? I went off on my quote and forgot what you just said. Oh, but we'll try it again. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I've got
How does it feel
sometimes too?
How does it feel to know you get to elevate and push forward into someone else's life as a personal trainer?
It's just rewarding. Yeah. Wrestling was stressful until I got Tyler Swift settled. Then it was fun. It finally became fun then. But whenever I can just elevate somebody else, I feel successful. I feel fulfilling. I go home with my job saying, I might have had a hard day, but I feel fulfilled. And that's something I think a lot of people are missing. A lot of people would like to have. I don't care about the money part of it. I don't care about whatever. I gave to somebody else. I feel fulfilled. That's the easiest thing I can say. The hard thing to find,
Right.
because sometimes we're chasing happiness, and happiness is fleeting. If you feel like your cup is full, what else do you need?
Of course. Out of all the other contestants in WWE Tough Enough Season 1 with you, who would you say you could call a friend and usually hung around with and talked with the most, if there was anyone?
Paulina, the really tall blonde girl that
Okay.
she was there. There at least half the season, and then Taylor, she married Brian Kendrick. I'll still message her on Facebook here and there, but we talked a lot before the show came out. We were trying to they were trying to keep us from talking on MTV message boards at the time, and I remember they were getting mad at us. But I'd like, oh, there's Taylor. I talked to her, and we were chatting here and there. Those two closer to the girls. Shadrack was really cool. I wish I would have been a better friend to him. But I was like stressed, like I said, so it was hard to relax. Those three people.
Yeah.
Those are the max. Those are the closest.
Is there anyone that you're still friends with to the day? Yeah, I know you mentioned Taylor, but is
Taylor
there anybody
probably
else? Yeah.
That's all. Brian Kendrick went through a lot of backlash for saying some things about anti-Semitism or something like that. And I'm like, ooh, that sucks. So I reached out to her. I was like, hey, sorry about that, guys. And she's like, yeah, this is about ruined everything, about ruining his career. So she will still respond here and there. But I don't talk at length or anything.
Yeah.
Or at length with anybody for a while. I was friends with Daryl for a little bit on Facebook, and that turned out pretty nasty. That kid's got problems. So from season 1, if you guys watch season 1, Daryl is the problem child. So we found each other on Facebook and started talking, and it was straight to arguments. Like, okay, he's got a problem. And not trying to talk some crap about Daryl, but we did a reunion show before the winter of season 2, I think it was. And we were in, I forgot whatever hotel in New York we were put up in, and somebody's coming around the corner like, hey, you guys need to come help Daryl here. I was like, what's going on? He was inside the room, like punching a window on this 23rd story building. Why does everybody hate me? Why does everybody hate me? Just punching this window. I'm like, holy crap. He had problems back then. I believe he's still got some issues now because it did not turn out pretty. We ended up blocking each other. So there's your opposite of who you're still friends with, not Daryl. Hope he's doing well, though. I have no ill will towards anybody.
Interesting.
That one, yeah. I was too.
Yeah, because the company that I work for the wrestling company as a backstage interviewer, the guy that kind of runs the company, he's friends with Daryl.
Oh, really?
And he actually one of the wrestlers that works there and is the champion there. He used to play football with him, and
The Moose.
I actually wanted to get him for an interview. So.
I would watch that just to see how Daryl's doing. If you say I said this stuff, no harm done. If I did, that's okay. But Daryl's interesting. I think he thinks I'm racist. It got to that type of conversation. Like, dude, you're no interesting kid.
Who were some of the hardest working wrestlers that you remember from your time in WWE Tough Enough?
Now, you're talking about the contestants or the people we met, or how do you mean that?
Oh, like the other contestants that you were in there with.
I got you. I got to go the main three there. Maven, Chris Harvard, Nowinski. Josh was too. And then Greg, I forgot his last name. I always like Greg. Did he get cut? I think he hurt himself. Had a back injury. Those three guys. The girls, Nydia, definitely. The ones that did not fall off, I'd say definitely those. The ones that were left were the ones who wanted it.
Yep. And it's cool to see how then Nydia and Maven later were working together in the WWE. Mm-hmm. So
I thought they did a great job. Maven's YouTube channel's got really interesting insight on kind of what happened to him and where he was. And it reminds me
out of all of the contestants would you say surprised?
I think we had a little blitz there. You're good. Are we lagging a bit? We got a dead spot, guys. Oh, I lost him. We've lost Blake. I'm not sure if people were watching just me. Texting Blake right now. He had a problem. He'll be right back, guys. You guys can watch me drink Azuvia. I was showing everybody what I was drinking. The internet, that's a problem.
Yeah. That always happens to me during my interviews. I have bad internet where I am, so.
Yeah. You're doing great. If it happens, you come on back and keep on talking. Oh, well. All right. You're doing great.
Who out of all of the contestants would you say surprised you the most with being eliminated before you?
That's a good question. Let me think who was eliminated before me. Jason, that big bulky dude who I guess he bodybuilder guy, just his size. But I remember him saying he had a relationship. He'd rather be back home with his girlfriend. Like, man, you got a great build. Wasn't the tallest guy, but had a great build. So he was my first.
Yeah. Are there any funny or interesting stories that you remember from your time in WWE or OVW that you could tell?
Oh gosh, during Tough Enough, I did not do a lot. Like I didn't eat a lot of food because I was afraid I was going to throw up in the ring. So I was always tired. I think I lived off a bowl of Cheerios and a bagel in the morning, and maybe some peanut butter and a bagel for lunch. I barely ate dinner. Those dudes after that, everybody else, they'd like to go out and party or whatever. I'm like, I don't know how you have energy for this. We got to get up and train in the morning. This is kicking my butt. We would train in the morning from like 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Then go to WWE, like Titan Towers, and work out there for like 3 hours. And it was rough. Like, I don't have any energy for this. I didn't eat enough food to do it. So I just chilled. I went to bed. I didn't get involved in anything. So I wish I had something funny today. Me telling Maven I'm going to spit on him one day when we're driving back from Titan Tower. It's like the only thing because I was just pissed off. That's what didn't happen then. But OVW, have you heard of Matt Morgan? You know Matt Morgan? He was in Teenager.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt Morgan walking in some club one day. We all went out. Like when we would go around Louisville, if everybody went out, it was like 15, 20 of us. And it was like everybody knew those were the WWE guys. And we just walk around this big herd. Walking in the bathroom, there's a stall with a door open. Matt Morgan taking a shit, saying, "Guys, come on in. It's okay. Just come on in." Just little things like that. Like, okay, there's this huge dude just taking a dump right there. Small things. So my last name, Nifong, everybody said it like you did, Nifong or Nifong. So everybody would walk. You walk in the morning, you shake hands, everybody get ready to train. It got to be every time I walk in, everybody Nifong. As soon as I hit the door, that was kind of funny, like just greeting me with my last name, chilling like that. Jim Cornette berating Matt Morgan on how to work a board or how to work a chain. Like I saw one of his famous scream fests. Just like, holy crap, this man's in tits. I had to really think about certain things, like some of the funniest. But Mark Henry ripping my shirt off and calling me. No, excuse me, I'm separating stories. Mark Henry called me Bon Jovi because my hair was long at the time. Yo, Bon Jovi, come here and talk to me. That was Mark Henry. Oh, we're losing Blake again. I will wait till you come back to the screen. The internet strikes again. Let's message him. Lost him. Just me. Hope everybody's having a great night. What a great show.
All right, there we go. We're back.
Comeback. You're already doing your comeback. What's your comeback, kid? Reconnecting the internet.
Second time comeback.
You got to go over now. I just like I don't know if you heard what I last said. Mark Henry calling me Bon Jovi. Ernest Miller ripping my shirt off, my favorite shirt, and just throwing it into the crowd. That was just little things like that. One time traveling to a show, we're following the ring truck and cannot be late.
Yeah.
So I don't know who is driving the truck, but like your Novas and your who would be in that truck, your bigger name contracts. They're driving the ring truck to a show in Kentucky, and there's probably 15 cars behind us, 13 cars behind us of all us guys going to the show. They're running red lights. We probably ran 10 red lights in a row, just a caravan of people just running red lights. Little things like that. Nothing gigantic I can think of, but just the holy crap, this is pro wrestling. Nothing amazing, but those are the ones that just stick out. I'd have to think again. It's been, 20 years since I did that. Got one from
Yeah, right.
real quick. Got one from WrestleCade. So when my hair is down, kind of long, and I've got the dye going on. All right, so I'm walking around WrestleCade like this, and Van
Yeah.
Dam is there, and I walked by him. So we're just backstage helping dudes, whatever. I didn't really have anything I was doing at that time. I forgot what my role was that time. I think it was helping people that need something. So I'm walking by Fandango, and he stopped me. He's like, "Breeze," saying I'm Tyler Breeze, and I'm like, "No, but thank you, I get it." And then he finds me some other time and like calls or texts Tyler Breeze and gets a picture of us together. And then also could be also Dolph. So it's either Tyler Breeze or Dolph that was calling me. But having Fandango take a picture of me and send it to Nick and Tyler, that was just okay, cool, thank you. Even had a person, I had a suit on too. Even had a person say, "Are you cosplaying as Dolph Ziggler?" I'm like, no, I'm not, but thank you. But then everybody called me Dolph Ziggler. I've got no gigantic stories, but just my small memories like that.
Yeah, it's really cool to have Fandango just take his time out to stop you and take a picture and send it to Tyler Breeze and Nick. So,
Yep.
what were the promo days like for you in WWE Tough Enough? Would you say you were good on the mic, or is that something you could have improved on?
We did one promo. It was I forgot that day. It was like I think like our second little thing we did where we like did a little. So we trained for the week, and 1 week would be like a special thing we did, like we wrestled in the mud with Taz. Week one, then week two, I think we went to like an acting class. I don't think I even got much to air because it was so god awful. But it was just some people at a theater giving us a monologue to read and teach us how to not inflect, not reflect, project and things like that. I had no idea what I was saying. The promo I gave for my audition tape was god awful, but I guess they thought I was okay enough to do it. But I'm not a great promo guy. Now with some Tyler Swift stuff I can use, that helps you get some stuff to say. But before that, you're just kind of grasping at straws there. Maybe had a little slick one when he did his tape, I believe, but we did one promo there, and they didn't focus on that at all. We focused on our headlocks, our arm bar, our body slam, a hip toss. What else did we do? Arm drags, and that's really all. And then conditioning. We'd work some matches
Okay, yeah.
so early we didn't understand what we were doing. So there's no promos at all, unless I missed that part after I was out.
Right. What are some of the hardest moves you have had to do and take during your time in Tough Enough?
Like I said, we didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Bumping wasn't a big deal, like taking a bump was the most difficult thing to do, just learning how to bump. We didn't focus on a lot of moves. I think they started doing cross bodies like after I was gone. There were some shows afterwards with guys jumping off. They didn't get technical, just a basic move set, headlock, like I said, arm drag, hip toss. I'm gonna name them to make sure I have it. Hammerlock, body slam, and then I think they might have done like a did we land on any crash pads? There was crash pads there. We were there at the time when Shane was practicing the Bandaminator for whatever WrestleMania that was. So there's trash cans lined up everywhere, like destroyed.
Okay.
What is this? Like, oh, Shane's coming after and practicing that rope or turnbuckle drop kick. So I think one time we kind of messed with a crash pad, but we didn't really do a whole lot. On my own, I don't really get move crazy. Just after the fact, after Tough Enough, just a superplex sucks. I don't like bumping that far. In the match, you really can't feel it. When you're practicing and the momentum is slower and adrenaline's lower, that sucks. I don't like landing on a crash pad with a superplex. Have you done those yourself?
No. I mean, my friend gave me it in the backyard trampoline, but
Oh, the trampoline, no big deal. Oh, God, I can feel that jar in my ribs right now. They suck.
What would you say has been like the best advice or compliment you've got from another wrestler or coach or trainer from any time in your wrestling career?
Straight to this one. This had to be 2 years ago, kind of as I'm wrapping up. So I was looking for a job as a trainer, and I had this opportunity where I'm at now. I had to move away 4 hours from AML in Winston-Salem, and I was still learning Tyler Swift and perfecting my own craft. But helping the young kids is one thing I always did. And one thing someone said to me, it was Josh Gary, the trainer I'm talking about tonight. He said, if Chris was 20 years old, he would be a package someone would look at to put on TV. I'm like, wow, that's all I needed to hear. My story is of one. I think I got into wrestling just so I could see if I could. I was see if I could do it. Just a personal challenge. Right. Yeah, we want to do it for the money. Yeah, we want the fame. We want to be on TV. But it was like, I wonder if I can do this. And then just going through everything, starting and stopping. I've always started and stopped. I'll do it for a little bit. I get down. I'm going to go back to it. I know I want to do it, so I'm going to keep on trying. I'll stop. I'll go to high spots in Charlotte. Didn't really care for that. I'll stop. I'm going to try it again. Every time I come back, I learn more, and I put this whole thing together with just my time in the ring to learn pro wrestling. I jokingly say I got my PhD in it just because I kept going. I kept learning higher level, do seminar, meet this person, train here, train there, travel, don't stay in one place. But when Josh said if he was 20 years old and was out there actually looking for a job, he would have a TV spot or something like that. I would be you somehow. That kind of completed my story. Figured out the character, knew how to work it, was learning psychology. No, I'm not a master of that, but still plenty of that to learn. But I can have a match. And then have someone say that like that. I think it made me say, I don't need to do this anymore. So it came at the right time where I had to move anyway. But I don't desire to get out there and train anymore. I would if it was around. People have asked me to do matches here and there. And it's like, maybe, but I don't feel like I need to. So I'm kind of, I'll do something if needed, but I kind of close the door on that. Blake is fighting with the internet again. Oh, we lost him again. Oh, he's back. Fighting from underneath. You got it, Blake. You got it. Excuse me. Let's go, Blake. Let's go, Blake. You got it. Come on, buddy. Come on. You got him. Come on. Let's go, Blake. I'm trying. Let's bring the crowd up. Oh, he came back for a second. Let's go, Blake. Let's go, Blake. There we go. He's back. Kind of.
There we go. Made my return once again.
What's up, man? Yes. Out of curiosity, what kind of fish?
All right. So, they're just regular like
goldfish.
Goldfish.
Goldfish. I'm a fish fan, so I had to.
Yeah.
Oh, we're lagging again.
Gold one in the back. I actually got him from a carnival thing where you toss the ball into the
Nice.
glass cup. I got that when I was like really young, multiple years ago, and I
Nice.
still have them to this day. So
Great prize, long lasting. You're not struggling again. I see you just frozen faced.
all right, you cut out there for a minute. So all right. All right. What was it like having to do the Welcome to the Jungle competition where Taz came to your house randomly and had to force you to wrestle in the mud?
Terrified. It blew my mind. I'm having to get straight up from a deep sleep, go downstairs as fast as you possibly can. So I remember there's a clip of me and my eyes just like barely blinking. But get up is the first thing I heard. He was busting the room and you wake up to the words, get up. Terrified. Like I was just scared of Taz the entire time. Once I got my bearings and we ran down there, I hate running, of course. It was April in Connecticut, so it was kind of cold. We're running and we get down there and people are banging their knees up. There's like rocks underneath this mud. And there's like pig shit and animal shit everywhere. So people are getting scrapes and getting infected, which we found out afterwards, of course. Pus in your hands 2 weeks later. But after we got down and started doing like the mud wrestling, I had a good time. Rarely would I say I had a fun time on Tough Enough. It was just stressful all the time, but just shocking and testing your nerves and testing what you're all about. As Mick Foley would say, what's your testicular fortitude like?
Right. And then I heard that there was a Mustang that was part of it.
I'm not sure if that was the same show as ours. No Mustangs here.
Or no, a Hummer. A Hummer.
Oh, was it Taz on the back of it with John Gabruick driving it? He was just yelling at us as he was drove. So definitely such a TV scene. So Taz on the back yelling at us to keep running, and Daryl getting pissed off because Taz was messing with him. That started early, just messing with Daryl. So I remember we were running, and I think it was myself and Josh and maybe Maven and Greg were kind of like butting up just a little bit. And he kept calling us I guess Josh was calling us like the clique, just trying to survive, just to get through this, like just talking about this stuff as we ran. And of course, we're dripping mud and our clothes are hanging off of us because we've been rolling around. And like long johns, they're just like tight underwear, long sleeves, short sleeve, or long sleeve pants and shirts. Mud hanging on you with your shoes full of it too. And probably there was ice on the ground when we got to Connecticut. So 30s, low 40s weather. So struggling, but a memory, definitely memory. Taz just yelling stuff at you, just heckling you, pretty much what it was. I forgot the things he was saying, but just making fun of us the whole time. That part was funny because he can't touch you. If he comes close to you, then I'll get scared. People say he's lightened up a lot now too. I'd love to talk to him again, but that was the Taz I remember.
Yeah, now he's with AEW. Have you ever been to Wisconsin or done anything in Wisconsin before?
I've only really traveled above probably Virginia a little bit, Florida, never gone out west. Los Angeles one time, not Los Angeles, where did I travel? Had a match in California one time in like Encino or some small area, but never Wisconsin. I'd love to visit the Midwest. Wait, is that considered Midwest? Is Wisconsin Midwest? I don't know my geography. I'd love to go that direction.
I'm not sure either. Yeah. I'm in like the AWA territory, like
really?
Minnesota and Wisconsin. So
I've always wanted to visit those places.
Yeah.
But no, never have.
Maybe into the wrestling stuff, we maybe book you down in Wisconsin or Michigan.
I wouldn't be opposed to doing something. I can still bump a little bit here and there. I'm not gonna do a crap ton of moves, but I tell a little story with Tyler Swift. I got a question for you. Did I hear you say you're training with a deathmatch wrestler?
No.
And I swear I heard someone say it. Maybe someone I watched you were being interviewed by somebody, and I swear I heard you being trained by a deathmatch wrestler. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to make sure you're getting trained right, and not some guy who wants to bleed every time you train. Okay, I accept that thing.
Yeah, I'm not getting trained by a deathmatch wrestler.
Okay.
I like the deathmatch type of wrestling stuff, but yeah.
Do you know who George South is? If I say George South.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he's kind of like the veteran around AEW. He's around every show. They book him all the time. Love that man to death. He's almost like my wrestling grandpa. And he did a death match with somebody at 2 AMLs ago or WrestleCades ago. A name I should know. Every one of your fans would know, but I forgot his name. Who's like the head hardcore guy right now in AEW? Nick Cage, is that it? Nick Gage? Is that him? I think we're losing Blake again.
Yes, I think it's Nick Cage in AEW.
Cage, whatever his name is. Anyway, so I was ringside for one of those matches they did. I've only seen death matches on TV, but we were stationed to pull crap out of the ring they destroyed to get it out of their way, and just as I could literally smell the blood they were pouring. That was wild. I've been around wrestling for a lot, but I've never seen a death match that close. Getting in the ring to move the stuff out of there, smelling the blood after the show is over, like holy crap, that was something. I'll never forget that. Just like iron, you can smell it. Never forget it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it myself. You can't pay me enough for that.
Yeah. Kind of like a life or death situation. I mean, you never know where your career would go next in that match.
This is very true. This is very true. My career is going straight to the hospital after that for a technical.
And then you have like permanent scars on you, like a lot of like the deathmatch wrestlers do. Mainly in Japan, they have all them like scars all over their body and stuff.
And I guess that's like a badge of honor to be tough like that. I went through this, but for me, call me pussy if you want, but I'm not doing it. But I respect you for doing it if that's what you want to do. I train with a guy who's into death matches. It's like, man, why do you want to do that? But he's like, I just love it. Like, okay, if that's your passion, I support you, but I don't get it. I don't put you down, but I don't get it. But definitely tougher than me. I can't be stabbed by barbed wire and have it sticking into my arm as I'm having a match with you. You can pull my hair, and I'm like, no, I'm done with this. Hit me in the head with a hammer, okay. Don't pull my hair or pinch me. Like, don't stick me with a needle. Forget that stuff. I'm done.
Yeah. So to finish off the interview, 2 more quick questions. What is one thing you would tell your wrestling fans that supported you throughout your career?
Wrestling fans, did I even have any? I appreciate it. If you came to see me, I hope I gave you a worthwhile show. I hope Tyler Swift was what you wanted to see from me. That's not the question I thought you were going to ask, but like, wow, I feel humbled to think anybody would even come see me. I don't think I did anything big enough to be seen, but you had your locals who would come always look for me and come to I don't really have a booth. I'd hang out with other guys. So people were fans, and it's humbling to even think someone would come see me, but just I hope I entertained you. That's all it's for. I hope I entertained you and was a good person to you too. That's my MO. Hope I treated you well.
Yeah.
If I'm a heel, I didn't treat you that well, but it's just a game.
Right. I mean, that's your job.
Exactly.
So, and for the last question is, do you have any advice for me to become a wrestler?
Oh my gosh. What's your chain wrestling like? If I say chain wrestling, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know where you are in your career, so I don't mean to like offend you if I say something you should easily know, but what's your chain wrestling like? How much of that do you do?
I'm
Not
not positive.
So, if we lock up, I get you in a headlock, you reverse it, and we just keep reversing.
Oh, okay.
So that's chain wrestling. That's mainly what we did OVW, like for hours and hours and hours and hours. And everyone wants to do moves. This might open up a whole nother conversation if we go longer. I'm sorry, but I love talking about this. We did that for hours and hours and hours, and it wasn't about the move. But when you have chain wrestling in your match, you can do so much more stuff without shooting somebody and running or starting to punch. In AML, I would always get in the ring during a break or before or after and say, who wants to get in the ring and chain wrestle? I love doing it. You learn how to tell a story. Nick Bonkwiggle did it so much. That's one reason I say his name, because he was so great at it. And he can keep a chain going before he's got to start running and jumping and punching. There's your storytelling. So I would say invest time in chain wrestling. If there's nobody around that can train you for that, I think I heard you considering other schools around. If they value that or not, I don't know. There's always a point to doing it. But headlocks and reversals and all of that stuff is so important, I think, because like I said, I would lock up with some of these guys, and when they don't know what to do, when they don't know where to go, somebody's gonna start kicking, somebody start punching. Like, now we're in the heat, and we didn't need to go to the heat yet. But I would love to chain wrestle for like an hour, even if you hit the same thing over and over. Wouldn't it be cool if I can do this? You start learning new ways in and out, and that's really when I think you start to learn to work. Telling the story slower. I would say learn to chain wrestle, go other places, learn from everybody you can. That's when you start developing that broader mind, that understanding of wrestling in a deeper sense. Those are the two things I'd say. And there's a book too. Rip Rogers, who was at OVW, he's got a book on Amazon for like $12. Best book I've ever read. It's not like, here's my story and you're reading stories like Mick Foley's is, which is a great book, but it's like one line. When the heel's doing this, you do that. Don't do this. Do this. Best book I've ever got. I love that book. Recommend that to anybody who's training as a wrestler. It's old school psychology, line by line.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it.
And I thank you for taking your time out to do this interview. It was a pleasure to have you on here.
I appreciate it. Sorry, I got to cut it a little bit short. Just too much to do at the end of the day when my day starts early in the morning. I appreciate it too. Thank you. I'm honored.
I totally understand. Yeah. Well, I thank you for just, again, taking the time out that you could. And so,
you got it, man. Best of luck to you. I'm going to watch all your stuff too. I watched that one you had with Rudy Gonzalez. I love that guy too. That's a great interview. You should take this up and put it on YouTube. I don't know if you do, but like, you got all kinds of people, interesting stories. I would say expect you. I hope you expand and do this on a broader scale. This is awesome.
That's what I want to do. I'm using StreamYard at the time, and I don't I'm not really paying for it per se, because I would have to pay for it to do on other platforms, such as YouTube and stuff. I just don't. I'm not doing that at the time. I've been wanting to, and I'm really hoping that I can sometime soon.
Yeah, you got some cool content. I look forward to seeing you grow. This is pretty cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the one I did with Mick Foley and Yerple the Clown too.
I was looking for it. I couldn't find it, but I definitely am going to go back and try to find it. That's cool. When I heard you had him, I was like, oh, cool. Look at that. That's and he's a nice guy too. Quick one story too here. So we're trying to leave, but I think of the story. So on Tough Enough, when we met him, he's going around the room asking us, if we don't win, what are we going to do? And my like sarcastic humor, I said, well, I've kind of got a lot to learn. I'm going to go learn whatever, go study again. And he's like, what's that, Chris? You don't have a lot to learn? I think you got a lot to learn, or something like that. And I'm like, no, I didn't say that to Mick Foley. And I'm like, he's looking at me like I'm some jackass kid who knows everything. I'll never forget that. It's like, no, Mick Foley, I didn't mean that at all. When he was doing his comedy shows, he came to Winston-Salem, like right in my backyard. I'm like, I've got to go see him and tell him, Mick, during Tough Enough, when you did that, I was on it. I did not say this to him. So I went to him after a show and said, hey, Mick, I was on Tough Enough. He's like, you're there? Oh, we lost Blake. I'll tell whoever's listening. But I said to Mick, I said, I was on Tough Enough, and you said this to me about you think you don't have anything to learn. I said, I think you mistakenly heard me. I've got a ton to learn. I wanted to tell you that. It's been in my mind since this. I didn't want Mick Foley to think I'm some kid who knows it all. But he's like, oh, no, I definitely didn't think that. Sweetest guy ever. I love Mick Foley. I hope this makes it on the show too. Made it back again.
Of course, it had to
Yeah.
go right at the end.
Quick question. So if we're dropping off like this, whenever this is up, people are seeing this as it is, right?
Yeah.
So I finished my story, so I don't have to go back and tell it again if you don't need me to. So they heard me
No.
tell the story. But to you, I went to Mick and said, "Hey, you thought I said this? I said that instead." He's, "Oh no, man! I didn't think you were being like a jackass. I'm so sorry if you thought that." He was like the sweetest guy ever. So that's my Mick Foley story. He's a great guy.
Nice. Yeah. He is definitely cool. When I had him on the podcast, he was so cool, down to earth, telling all the Yerpal stories that he did. And he actually is going to take one of my ideas and bring it to the WWE to,
That's cool. I think I heard that in the show you were on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what is that? Just so I don't wonder what's your idea, unless you have to keep it secret. Oh, I lost him again. Oh well, I'll go find it. I need to put on a show where everyone's watching this. I'll wait till Blake is back. There he goes. What's up, dude? He made it back again.
Yep.
The comeback kid.
All right. So about the Mick Foley. What did you ask again? Sorry.
I just asked what your idea was. And two, I know we're trying to close the show too. I can go back and watch the show because I do want to see what you said. I can hold off of that. I'll let you properly close out me jumping into another story right now.
So, my idea was to have them return because Yerpal runs a daycare in Arkansas, and she does, with her husband, who also does clown acting. She
Cool.
and her husband dress up as Santa and Mrs. Claus for the holidays. And you know, if you know, Mick Foley dressed up as Santa Claus for one of his WWE things and did that. And so I gave the idea of them possibly going as Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus for WWE and like passing out gifts and stuff for a show in maybe like December and something, or just even like reuniting them in WWE as Yerpal and Mick for like Legends Night or something.
That's one of those things that bring me back to. Like, I want to see the old stuff that I remember that I'm connected to. That's always going to bring people back. The then, now, forever is true.
Yep. For sure it is. Yep. Well, I guess I'll let you go and thank you for taking this time. And I'm sorry about all the cutouts that
That's technology for you. Not a problem. Not a problem. I appreciate it too. Very honored to be here. I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your night, and thank you again.
You too. Maybe we'll talk again. Have a good night, man. See you.
Yes. Thank you.